If the user wants to know the detailed performance of a ministry, the user can simply use the blue ribbon given on the top right side corner of the page called Detailed Performance. Click on the plus sign. The user will have access to see information on the detailed performance of ministries and departments, performance on themes, pillars, schemes, NSIs, strategy action points, ministry department summary performance, and the trend analysis. For example, if the user wants to see how the ministry has performed, the user can simply click on ministry from the top down. They will be redirected to a page which shows how ministries and departments have performed. From the stat graph, the user can see the DGQI score of each ministry in front of the bar. For example, Ministry of Earth Sciences has achieved the highest DGQI score of 4.56 in quarter 2. This is followed by Department of Rural Development with a DGQI score of 4.37 and so on and so forth. The same details can also be viewed in a tabular format by using the toggle given on the top of the graph. These details can be exported to an Excel as well as the graphs is downloadable in PDF and other formats. If the user wants to see how the ministries have performed given the number of schemes for the particular ministries and the budget allocation made for the particular ministry towards implementing these schemes, they can simply click on the bubble toggle given on top of the graph. Here, the DGQI score in the bubble graph is given on the y-axis, and the number of schemes is given on the x-axis. The size of the bubble represents the budget amount. For example, Department of Food and Public Distribution, that is DOFPD, has a large budget allocation of approximately 2 lakh crores with 12 schemes and has achieved a DGQI score of 3.73. Now, if the user wants to see how this department has performed in further detail, the user can simply click on the name of the department from the bubble chart. The user will be redirected to the department's overall performance page. The overall performance page gives information on the total number of schemes with the DGQI score, with the average DGQI score. Here, for example, DOFPD has 12 schemes with a total DGQI score of 3.73. Now, if the user wants to see detailed responses given by ministries and the scores for each of the questions, the user can do so by clicking the two blue blocks named Part A and Part B detailed response by ministries. Say, for example, the user wants to see detailed responses and scores of DOFPD for Part A. The user can click on Part A block. The user can see how the ministries have responded to each and every question and the score they have attained for the responses provided. Similarly, if the user wants to see the detailed responses given under Part B, the user can click on Part B block. The user can select the category, department name, quarter, type of scheme, name of the scheme. On this selection, the user can see how the ministries have responded to the questions provided for that particular scheme and the scores achieved for these responses. Now, if the user wants to see how each scheme type have performed of the particular ministry, they can view the same using the same overall performance page. For example, under DOFPD, out of the 12 schemes, 8 are central sector schemes having an average DGQI score of 3.65, one entity sponsored scheme with an average DGQI score of 2.66, and 3 non schematic interventions with a DGQI score of 4.28. From this, it can be inferred that DOFPD has performed better on the non-schematic interventions compared to the central sector and centrally sponsored schemes. Further, if the user wants to know the names of the best and the worst performing central sector, centrally sponsored schemes, and non-schematic interventions, the user can simply click on the blue blocks given in front of the scheme type. For example, if the user wants to see which central sector scheme of DOFPD has performed best and worst, the user can simply click on View Best Worst Performing Central Sector Schemes. Here, the name of the scheme and the DGQS code will reflect. As part of DGQI exercise, all ministries were encouraged to prepare an action plan and create action points to ensure attainment of the Frontier DGQI score of 5.0. The overall performance page of the ministry shows the status of the progress made by the ministry on these action points. For example, DOFPD has a total of 24 action points created for quarter 2 and has achieved 95% compliance. Now, if the user wants to see what these action points are and their status, the user can simply click on the blue block here named 24, after which the user will be redirected to a page that displays all action points in detail. Here we can see out of the 24 action points, 23 are completed with no delay, one action point is in progress with a delay of 164 days. These details can be exported into an Excel sheet as well. Further, all ministries were encouraged to set up the Data Strategy Unit for DGQI exercise. The overall performance page has the status update on the DSU set up by the ministry, that is, whether the DSU is constituted and whether it is functioning. Please note that a ministry user can only view the DGQI score of all the ministries and does not have access to view detailed responses given by other ministries on the questionnaire. Now, if the user wants to view the theme and pillar wise performance, the user can simply go on the detailed performance ribbon and select theme and pillar from the drop down. A new page will open where the user can view pillar-wise performance of the ministry. The user can select the category, ministry name, year, quarter, and the pillar type from the filters given on top of the graph. Here we can see Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals has scored 3.17 on data systems, 3.5 on data strategy, and 1.65 on data-driven outcomes. If the user wants to see performance on the themes, then they can simply use the toggle button given on top right side of the page and select Theme. After the selection, the user will have to select the pillar type and the scheme type from the filters given on top. A graph will be generated where the user can see performance on all the themes for the ministry. Same details can also be viewed in a tabular format. These details and graphs are downloadable and can also be exported into an Excel sheet. Now, if the user wants to see the performance on various central sectors, entity sponsored and non schematic interventions, the user can simply go to the detailed performance ribbon on top and select CS, CSS schemes, and NSI from the drop down. A new page will open where the user can view DGQI scores of all the central sectors, entity sponsored, and NSIs. The user can select any category name, ministry name, year, quarter, scheme type, and the name of the schemes from the drop-down. Same details can also be viewed in a tabular format. These details are exported into an Excel format, as well as the graphs are downloadable in PDFs and other formats. Now, say for example, if a ministry wants to view the performance of their schemes, they can simply click on their ministry name from the filter, select the quarter, select the scheme type, and select the scheme name. A graph will be generated with the names of the schemes under that particular ministry. If the user wants to see the detailed responses and score calculation of DGQI for a particular scheme, the user can simply click on the scheme name in the graph. The dashboard will redirect the user to Part B detailed responses of the scheme, where the user can view detailed responses of each question and DGQI score given for each of the responses. Please note that a ministry user can only view the DGQI scores of all the schemes NSIs and does not have access to view detailed performance of schemes NSIs and the scores given for these responses that fall under other ministries. Now, if the user wants to see the compliance of the ministries on their action points, the user can simply go to the detailed performance ribbon and select the strategy action points from the drop-down. The dashboard will redirect the user to a new page which has a graph with the compliance rate of all the ministries on the action points. The user can narrow down the graph to the ministry of their choice by choosing the filters and selecting category name, ministry name, year, and quarter. Same details can be viewed in the tabular format. These details can be exported into an Excel sheet, and the graphs can be downloaded into PDF and other formats. If the user wants to view more details on the action points of the ministry, the user can simply click on the name of the ministry. The dashboard will redirect the user to the detailed action points page of the ministry where the user can see details such as total number of action points, number of action points completed, number of action points in progress, and number of action points yet to be initiated. Further, a table also provides details such as action point description, status on completion, original expected date of completion, revised expected date of completion, the scheme name, and the delay in the action point compliance. If an action point is linked to a particular scheme or NSI, then the name of the scheme and finally details on the then the name of the scheme can be viewed using the view scheme button. And finally, the details on the number of days the action point is delayed can also be viewed. Same details can be exported into an Excel sheet as well. Please note that ministry user can only view details of action points of its own ministry and does not have access to view details of action points of other ministries. Now, if the user wants to see how ministries have performed over a period of time, the user can simply go to the detailed performance ribbon at the top right side, click on the plus sign, and choose trend analysis from the drop down. Using the filters, the user can click on, for example, DGQI 2.0 versus DGQI 2.1.0 from the drop down, select the categories and the names of the ministries. The dashboard will then generate a graph which shows how each of the ministries have performed. For example, Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals has improved their performance from 1.69 to 2.93, whereas the DGQI score for Department of Commerce has decreased from 1.77 to 1.55. Similarly, the user can also view DGQI2 performance on various themes, pillars, central sectors, entity sponsored scores attained by the ministries over a period of time. By using the filters, one can also view action point compliance of all the ministries over a period of time. Hence, the dashboard gives a 360-degree overview of the detailed performance of Government of India as well as all the ministries and departments on DGQI.